View from the Gutters, episode 110. Welcome to View from the Gutters, the comic book podcast where each episode we discuss a collected edition, trade paperback, or graphic novel, and then recommend and vote on the book for the next episode. Warning: the discussion portion of this show has massive spoilers for that book. On this episode, we discuss The Mystery Society, and to skip ahead to the recommendation section, skip to 5007. Episode 110. I'm Andrew Chard.
I'm Jerry Seinfeld.
Really?
Excuse you?
I'm not Jerry Seinfeld. I'm sorry.
Whoa, really? You're not? None of us were.
Today, the part of Joe Preti will be played by Sid
Preti.
Caesar.
I'm Tobiah Panshin.
See, Joe.
I'm Kayleigh Fleeman.
Joe, your introductions are getting worse and worse. Like,
Yeah.
They used to just annoy Toby.
Terrible.
But now they're to the point where I'm like concerned for your mental well-being.
I think everybody in this room should be concerned for my mental well-being.
Most weeks
I'm certainly not.
You end with a question mark. You don't know who you are. Now
just
you're
because
just
I go
saying
up at the end of
different
my
names.
sentences doesn't mean I'm asking a question.
It does, though.
Okay.
Okay? Question mark.
You're asking a question, or you're a 15-year-old girl from Orange County, and in either situation, I want no part of it.
Why don't you go fuck
Also-
yourself?
Also,
Okay.
we know that neither of those things are true.
We know that all of those things are true.
Okay. Well, now I'm
Are
confused.
we here to do
All
a
right.
podcast?
Before
So-
we get started,
Yes.
two quick things.
Thank you.
Briefly, a thank you to our episode sponsors,
Yay.
Tony Cortero, Brian May, and Addison Appleby, as well as all of our other Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, patrons.
Thank you.
Also, God, you make it sound like you're an elementary school student who's
Yeah.
like having to thank the lunch lady,
Well,
Yep.
yeah.
giving them an extra chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Like,
That's-
did you say thank you?
Thank
I
you.
spent 12 years of my life in an institution where I was required to say thank you to the lunch lady. Yes, that's
Basically-
how my thank yous sound now.
That is
Basically prison.
basic politeness. Also, next weekend, we're going to be at Emerald City Comic Con once again. The time has come.
Yeah. There'll still be an episode in between this and us being at
Yes,
Comic-Con,
there's
so-
an episode that will go up once Comic Con is already underway,
Right.
Yes.
but we will already be there.
Correct.
We will be standing places, doing things.
Talking,
Dressing up as things.
And
Looking.
did we announce
breathing.
the meetup time?
That's what I'm announcing right
Oh.
now. If y'all shut the fuck up for a minute.
That's happening now.
Did you not talk to me that way?
So watch our
Please?
Twitter and Facebook feeds for pictures and commentary. And of course, after the con is over, we will have our traditional con report episode.
Woo! My goal this Emerald City is to take 100 pictures.
And
Lofty.
we are going to have a listener meetup
Yeah.
on Saturday at 2 p.m. in the atrium.
Yay.
So if you're attending Emerald City Comic Con, please stop by sometime between 2 and 2:30 and say hi to us. We'll be standing around.
Just look
Doing
for
mostly
a
nothing.
really tall guy looking slightly annoyed at a shorter bearded man. That'll be us.
Yeah. Which one of us is annoyed?
I'm annoyed at Toby.
Oh, you're annoyed at Toby.
Yeah, no, not you.
Okay.
Because, I mean, really, that could describe me and Chard equally.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm tall. I mean, I'm the one that they're
I mean,
gonna
if
be
you're
able to
not
see most
there,
readily.
then I would be the tall one,
Right.
and he would be the slightly shorter one
Right.
who's annoying me.
Right.
I think they should look for me as the Flagstaff. I'm easy to find in a crowd.
you cannot be. You're not visible above a crowd. That's the problem with that one.
But it's-
But Kayleigh will be live tweeting the entire event
I will
as
be
the
live
View from the Gutter.
Twitter still confounds me.
Well,
Well-
better figure it out or you'll be fired. And
You don't pay me.
well,
won't get any
still
credit.
fire
There
you.
will be
I
live
dropped
tweeting
out of
happening.
college
Why are you still on the show?
because you keep asking me back.
Oh, whatever.
She loves being on the show,
yeah,
and our
well-
fans love her.
We'll be in the atrium. I'll be wearing a
You
Earthbound
can
shirt.
find the atrium on your map. It's on the fourth floor. It's the big glass area
Sky
where all the
Bridge.
cosplayers hang out, right by the escalators.
And we
Yes.
will tweet and post on Facebook exact details of where we're standing because that place tends to get pretty fucking busy. So
Yeah.
there's a possibility that we may move to a place that's less crowded with traffic. But that is the plan right now, and we will keep you updated to any changes. So Make sure to be checking our Facebook and
I
our
think
Twitter.
the Boom Studios booth was there last year.
No, that's where they always have like the customer services where you can buy the swag.
We Love Fine and a few other places were there.
That's
last
where I
year.
met Noel Stevenson last year. The Boom booth was totally in
no,
the
they
middle.
That's
were.
the Sky Bridge.
Oh, okay. Not
You're
the
thinking of
Sky
the
Bridge.
Sky Bridge. Okay, so
Don't
on the
go
fourth
to
floor,
there.
there's like the two big floors with the Sky Bridge in between them.
Yeah.
And the atrium is on the other side of
By the escalators.
Yeah, by the
Okay.
escalators.
Go to
Yes.
the escalators, not
Yeah,
to where
and
I said.
If there's too much going on in the atrium, there's a little outdoor area right there. We might move there, but
Okay.
we will tweet where we are. We will Facebook where we are. I'll also
take
give you
photos of
Chard's
where we
number
are.
so that you can text him and ask him directly.
Because I love that.
Also, his home address and
anytime
his email.
anyone texts me, who the fuck is this?
Who the fuck is this?
But yes, yeah, we'll be there. So come say hello.
Yes.
Any other announcements before?
No, those are all of the announcements.
I have an
Great.
announcement.
Dude.
Not ready?
So let's talk about the comic book.
Yeah, so we're
And
talking
Kayleigh
about.
really wanted to start this episode off.
She was
So this
jumping
book
up and down.
was-
She walked in. She didn't just walk into the room. She kicked the door open and then stood there as it rebounded into her, knocked her into the hallway. We had to help her up and back in, but she said, I really want to start tonight, guys. You got to let me.
Yeah, none of that happened. Also, we are talking about Mystery Society.
By Steve Niles and Fiona Staples.
Fiona Staples.
Yes.
And this was recommended to us by Allison Poppy of Out of the Fridge, who was on last week's episode. You can go listen to that. And it's IDW.
It is.
And Kayleigh, what did you think?
So I was reading it, and as I was reading, I was like finding certain flaws in it that normally bother me, but I think just in general, I really enjoyed it. And I think it's because it's just having fun, and I'm not hypercritical of comics or stories. They're just kind of having fun with themselves, just doing their own thing. They're not setting out to be any critique of anything or prove any sort of point. Like, they're just fun. They're fun stories for people to read and to enjoy. So there were things that bothered me at first, but I quickly got over. Overall, like, I enjoyed a lot of the characters. At least the side characters. Like, I love Jules Verne.
Yes.
He's adorable.
The most adorable robot ever.
My God, he's cute. And just him in the sidecar with Secret Skull,
Yes.
like driving, and him just being like, "Oh, if you can slow down. The skull won't be any more stolen if you slow." Like, it was just my favorite. Like, I don't know. It was cute. It was a lot of fun to read.
Yeah, it's a fun, I would describe it as like a popcorn comic.
Yeah.
And I understand what Kayleigh's saying about, like, the book's not perfect. I often will say that there's no such thing as a perfect book or a perfect comic or a perfect game. So there are definitely inherent flaws in it, but I think when a work doesn't take itself too seriously, there's so much that I'm willing to forgive because it's just meant to be fun. Like, I had a fun time reading it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's like I don't hear the movie announcer voice at the beginning where it's like, in a comic that will change your whole world. It's just like, hey guys, you want to read this really fun comic I wrote? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I read it and it was great. And like,
Yeah.
that's the difference to me is like when a book takes itself too seriously. Like, there's so much humor in this book that it lets me forgive a lot of the problems. And actually, weirdly, I had the same experience with Preacher. Like, I was really ready to, like, destroy that book because I didn't like it, but there was
Really?
enough fun in it that I was like, all right, I don't like it still, but, like, because the humor is there, like, I'm more willing to forgive certain things.
That's actually funny because I had the opposite reaction with Preacher. I thought it took itself way too seriously, and it had like this, I'm going to prove my message sort of.
It started like that, and then it very quickly like forgot what it was doing. And like,
that's fair.
I like this book because it starts and finishes with the same tone, and like it's very much this is like a Saturday morning cartoon adventure story. It reminds me of a lot of the shit that I like couples, like families on adventures together. It reminds me of stuff like DuckTales. It reminds me of stuff like Johnny Quest and Venture Brothers and like Tailspin, and like just anytime there's like this family camaraderie, Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, like that kind of stuff, like the adventuring groups together. Like I just have such a fondness for that because I think probably because in the 90s that was like every show ever.
Can I just say for the record, I love the way that you say Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
Rather
Like
than
Johnny Cakes.
Johnny Quest.
How do you say it?
Johnny Quest.
Oh.
Emphasis is on Quest.
No, emphasis is on Johnny. That's his name.
Johnny
Quest. It's like DVD.
Obviously. So I am hypercritical. I'm not going to run away from that in any way. This book bugged the crap out of me.
It's fun. And that's really annoying to most
Yeah,
people
oh,
that are
God.
named Toby.
I hate that so much. No, like I like the character designs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell that Fiona Staples is not as a practiced an artist in this as she is in Saga.
Yeah.
And I had, I mean, there were a few places where I'm like, wow, this art is really weird. Like you're trying to do this foreshortening thing that doesn't look quite right. But I love the character designs. Like you're right, Jules Verne is adorable.
Yeah.
And like Secret Skull looks cool as a character. And oh god, what's the main guy's name? Is it
Nick?
Nick. Yeah,
Nick
Nick Mystery.
Yeah.
Like I love his little mustache. Like he looks like a blonde Tony Stark, the way
Yes.
that Tony Stark looked back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Like he's got that cool kind of spy look to him.
Right.
But god, the writing just bugged the shit out of me from start to finish. There were just so many ridiculous plot holes. Like I couldn't even focus on what was happening in the story because random shit just keep happening. And I'm like, wait, what? And then they be on to the next thing. And I'm like, that didn't make sense. That totally makes no sense to me. How is this happening? How is this continuing to happen?
Yeah. Like
Like,
how is there
reminded-
a robot with Jules Verne's
Well, no, it's not even
head
things like
brain
that.
in it and like the
It's like-
skull of Edgar Allan Poe recites
He starts
poetry.
out breaking into Area 51, which apparently has like no security because
Well,
he
he's
just
just-
like blows past all the
He's
security
a ninja.
guards. How did he get to be a ninja? Like,
He's rich.
I don't know.
Yeah,
He's
but,
one.
like-
How did Shinobi get to be a ninja? We don't fucking know. Does that destroy that game?
it's like they show a flashback to them being like, we should found a mystery society and reveal the truth behind all the paranormal things because nobody's ever done that before.
Right.
How are we going to do that? We need shit tons of money. Skip to later. Now we have shit tons of money. Wait, what?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
They won the lotto. That's the joke.
I don't know.
That's what he says. He's like, now we just need to win the lotto. And like, that's the joke. That's how they got the money.
Well, it wasn't a very funny joke.
How is that not funny? That's hilarious. It's like,
it's good.
it's like if a guy on the street was like, I just want to become the vengeance of the night and like fight crime. And like, all I need is like this really elaborate suit of armor. And like, all I need to get that is if I just won the lotto. And then he won the lotto the next day and became Batman. Like it's funny. I hate having to explain jokes to Toby. It's like very irritating.
Okay, this book reminded me on so many levels of Shudder, except Shudder makes sense. Like, it feels like it's earning the things that it's doing, and this didn't feel like it wanted to earn anything. It was just like, here's things that are happening with no justification and no explanation. Like, Jules Verne falls out of the sky.
I'm sorry, that was my favorite part.
That was great.
Yeah, out of an airship.
I mean, I think
like
that's
Jules
it.
Verne would.
Yeah, and, like the thump when he falls and like the little like boxing glove
That pushes him up.
Like, I mean, maybe this is me having completely the wrong reaction. This didn't read as humor to me.
Really?
I wasn't amused by any of this. Like, it didn't
my
feel like
God.
it was joking at
because
any
you're
point.
joyless.
I just.
You're like a.
Did you need a laugh track?
I
That's
get-
what I'm. That's
no,
what I'm concerned with. It's like
There's this movie.
I'm a real human being. I get jokes.
You keep telling me that, but I've yet to
said that
see
so many
evidence of it. There's this
That's
movie.
like
there's
what
this,
an alien would say. Guys, I am
I'm
a real
totally-
human.
am
I
not
do
an
human
alien.
things
I
like you
get
do.
Jokes. Jokes are funny. There's this movie called it's called The Last Kiss. And it's
No,
got
it's
Alec
Last
Baldwin
Airbender.
and Meg Ryan in it, and
Last
they're in
Airbender.
love with each other, and they're gonna get married. And at the wedding, this old guy kisses Meg Ryan, and they switch bodies. And the movie is about her getting her body back from this old man, right, so that she can be with the man she loves. that happened to Toby when he was younger, but he never found the old man, so now he's just a fucking
That was
80-year-old man.
elaborate. I was not following that for a long time. This basically, the joke was Toby's an old man on the inside,
Yes.
and we needed a reference to a Meg Ryan movie to get there.
Hey, it's a great Meg Ryan movie.
I'm sorry, that was too far.
What
Reel
you're
it
saying
in.
is that I'm what's his butt from Third Rock from the Sun, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm not going to go that far,
Except
but I
he
do
knew
think
how to
that,
have
like,
fun.
See, that would have been a much more obvious reference.
yes.
I seriously
now that
doubt
it's
it.
on Netflix
I didn't
as well.
watch Third Rock from the Sun. I am stoked.
Well, that is
it's
your
on
loss
Netflix.
Six
because that was
seasons.
a hilarious show.
Stop
With
listening
many-
to this
yeah.
show.
With many
Immediately go
Earth-human
home.
jokes.
I don't know. I guess like that is. It's now that you're saying that, it's making me think. Humor's really tough in comics because you don't have a laugh track and you don't have timing. Like timing is so important to comedy. Like comedians will talk about other comedians as being good or bad based solely on the fact of whether or not they have timing. They know when to say a joke and when to wait just long enough to build the suspense for a joke. And like comics don't have that at all.
Yeah,
Well,
like
it's
if
hard
you
to
listen
do
to
that.
comics behind the scenes, like they'll tell each other jokes, but they'll tell each other the same. Like one person will do a joke, and then someone else will do this exact same joke in like their own way. Like they'll put their own little twist on it, and it's all about the delivery and the timing and like just the way that they do it.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I've been thinking. I was thinking about this because Terry Pratchett died earlier this week, and he's one of my favorite authors. But also, one of the reasons he is because he wrote a book called Interesting Times, which is kind of a direct sequel to the first couple of books he wrote in the Discworld series. And I remember reading that book, and there are parts in that book that made me laugh so goddamn hard that my now ex-wife who was driving the car started laughing because when she asked me what was so funny, I went to tell her and I couldn't stop laughing. Like I could not speak. I was laughing so hard. And that is so hard. Like I love Douglas Adams, but none of the Hitchhiker's books, none of the Dirk Gently books have ever done that to me. That's such an
I'm
incredibly difficult
astounded by
thing.
that.
Writing
It is
in
such an incredibly difficult thing to do in text.
yes.
To convey a joke. And so, I mean, then I can definitely
rare
get
talent.
behind- Yeah, it really, really is.
And I won't disagree that maybe Steve Niles is not the best humor comic writer. Like, I don't think he is. Like, I like the Cal McDonald stuff a lot, and there's a lot of jokes in there, but it's very, like, jokey in the way that Private Eye books are
Well, I
jokey,
think
or
this-
it's super dry.
I think this follows on that because it's very pulpy.
Right.
And thus the Cal McDonald stuff is also very much in
Yeah.
that pulp tradition of
Yeah.
the, like, the hard-boiled detective with the...
But it's
was his
super
best
dry
friend, is
humor,
it-
right?
It is super
Yeah.
dry,
Well,
yeah.
I was reading this as a paranormal adventure story,
And it
which
is.
what I thought it was supposed to be.
It's
And
also-
I just kept seeing things that seemed preposterous without ever feeling like it was supposed to be funny.
Well, some of it's not meant to be
there
funny.
there were a few bits, like Jules Verne literally falling out of the sky. Like I understand that, like that's supposed to be a slapstick moment,
right. And
but the fact that they're like, we're founding a mystery society, and Jules Verne appears out of nowhere as a robot, like,
well,
that didn't seem inherently funny to me. The way it was presented.
I think that a lot of it is like there's some situational comedy built into the fact that like they're a mysterious society that's not public. Like, how do all these people know to show up to audition for this like thing that they didn't announce? Like, that's inherent situational comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like that's funny. And it's just because, you know, like it's not situational irony, but it's just like this is something you don't expect to happen. Like, you think they're going to have to go hunt down everybody, but 2/3 of the members that join that team show up at their front door or in their house. Like, you have Secret Skull sitting on their kitchen table, and they get in like a very classic like superhero fight where they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And then they start fighting, and they're like, "Wait a minute,
Okay, I want to talk
we are
about that
friends."
moment real quick, and I gotta find it. Is it in the first issue?
Yeah.
Yes, it
So-
is. And I already know what you're going to say, too, because I fucking heard you saying it when I read it.
So the woman fights Secret Skull.
Yes.
She kicks her into a mirror, and then she kicks her in the gut and knocks her down. And then she's like, she's like, oh, I want to join your group. And she's like, oh, why didn't you say so? You sure can handle yourself. And you're like, no, she can't. You just kicked her ass.
Oh my God.
But
I fucking heard you say that in my fucking head when I read that part.
But she takes a kick really well.
Yeah.
Like, that's important. Like, clearly most of what
guess.
the Mystery Society does is, like, get hurt by things. And also, how do you know that Natalia is not, like, the greatest fighter in the world?
Anastasia.
And that, like, no one will beat her.
I don't know that.
Right.
No.
I have no reason to think
I mean,
that.
Well, she just solidly beat up a ghoul with no problem
With
at all.
no problem
and
at all.
ghouls probably are stronger than people.
Maybe. We don't
In
know.
super ghosts
So,
and ghouls, they are.
I think one thing, and like this is what bothered me about it until I started taking the comic for just like a fun popcorn sort of read. So I would set up these big mysteries or these questions that like, oh, we're totally going to get to that. And then it wouldn't. And so you're just like, wait, but we just went by that and you didn't really answer it. And this is still ongoing, right?
No, this is it.
This is it?
Well, there's that
Oh.
one thing that's not drawn by Fiona Staples.
Yeah, there were
And
this was
Steve
5
Niles has-
issues in 2010, and then the one special in 2012.
And Steve Niles has continually said, like, oh, he's willing to go back to approach this. But I think that Fiona Staples had quite a large input into this story. It seems like she's not just an author on this, or an artist on the stuff that she works on. She has a lot of input because she did most of the character designs for all the characters in this, which is something we liked. And in Saga, she clearly brings a lot of her character design to this as well. And so now that she's on Saga, and has been since 2012, when this ended, I don't know when we're going to see another Mystery Society.
Right.
So, like, I feel like Steve is a little hesitant to go back to it without her. So, I mean, I would love to see more of this, but
Yeah,
I don't know that we will anytime soon.
I felt like, because I actually thought it would still continue. I didn't realize it was a one and done sort of
I don't
thing.
think it was meant to be.
Okay. Because I was just like, oh, well, they'll just maybe get to it in later issues. Like, the government, when Nick is arrested, he's like, oh, well, we didn't know who we were dealing with at the time. Like, we didn't know how big and bad they were. And then at the end, they sort of reveal, like, who they were up against. And it's like, but they're not that big and bad. Like, they're just kind of petty. And so, like, that bothered me. But I was willing to forgive a lot of it because it's total popcorn.
I think this book definitely suffers for its length. If it had been an ongoing, there's a lot more room to explain things and kind of get into it. And it definitely feels like he wanted to, that he was laying the groundwork to build on later. And I mean, it's, I think one of the reasons that I come away enjoying this book is, I mean, I'm definitely, it's frustrating that there isn't anymore, that he never got to kind of build on top of those things. But I also kind of feel like he went for broke, and I can appreciate that in this instance. However, I'd probably be saying the opposite thing if I hadn't enjoyed it. I mean, it speaks directly to my interests. I love pulp shit. I love weird references. I like, people with crazy fucking powers and all that shit. Like,
Yeah.
I just like the idea of, like, kind of people taking on, like, it's big, like the whole super spy thing mixed with, like, oh, we're going to uncover the conspiracy thing.
Like, this is my question to you, Toby, I guess, is how did you not see the plane with, like, 5 individual bubbles for each member and, like, not immediately laugh at that?
That was incredible.
Like, because
I
that's,
don't know
like,
what to
such
tell
a
you.
great visual gag, because it's making fun of not only, like, the Fantastic Four car with, like, the goddamn, like, each person has their own separate sitting position, and also, like, stuff like Thunderbirds, where, like, every vehicle is just, like, stupidly designed for exactly as many people as they took on that
it's
mission.
like,
And it's like, why would you have a plane that only has 3 spots, and they're each, like, in a separate, but, like, that's such a shady design for a plane, but it was because, like, then you could show all the characters talking at the same time. And it's just, like, it's really funny
Yeah.
in a very Saturday morning cartoon kind of
Yeah,
way.
and like it didn't come off as over the top enough to be cartoonish.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like maybe I just like had a complete like perceptual meltdown and didn't get this book on any level, but I was going through this going like you're
Like
setting
the
stuff
giant-
up and then you're knocking it down. But this isn't funny, like
The giant robot with, like, tons of guns on it
didn't come off as cartoony to you, like the one that the general is in,
or the villain with the last name Culprit. His last name was Culprit.
Or the butt jet.
Yeah, or the butt jet.
or the guy, like the general's son, who is just like shooting people in the flak jacket whenever he's angry. He's just like firing guns at like
Yeah,
live.
that just seemed incredibly dumb.
It's just like watching someone's critical analysis of the first 6 episodes of Power Rangers and being like, I cannot believe that an alien force would think that teenagers would be the best way to combat. Like, clearly he should have gone for like ex-military commandos, and they would have at least known how to drive a Zord. And why are they 5 different Zords? And they combined it. I just can't buy it.
A crab with a top hat and a
thing.
monocle. This is where I draw the line. Like, come on, Master Chief. Get the fuck out of here.
I just watched it again yesterday. It makes me cry.
Okay, that was fucking hilarious. If you don't know what we're referencing, just search on YouTube for Ultimate Skyrim.
And that makes me laugh. Oh my god, it's Skyrim. It's my favorite character. Skyrim's here to save me.
Pick them up with your wheels, Skyrim. Yeah. No, that's funny.
I agree with you. That is funny. It makes me laugh so hard I cry.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking bear.
Okay, so Power Rangers. The fact that they're teenagers isn't a joke. Like, that's part of the genre. It's like,
not really.
Apparently, you
Teenagers
haven't
with
seen that show because the whole
superpowers or
thing is a
whatever.
joke.
I mean, like, that's the thing, though, is like in Japan, they weren't teenagers. So when they brought it over to the U.S. for Mighty Morphin, like, that was a choice they made to try to target like a young audience.
right, but nobody was going like, this is really funny. Like, you would think that they would be adults, but they're not. They're teenagers. Isn't that funny?
But it kind of is funny, though, because like people are like, it's very much that Spider-Man syndrome where they're like, oh, Spider-Man, this great protector of the city, and then he takes off his mask and he's actually 16. Like,
Yeah,
that's...
but okay, that's a joke though. But they never did that in Power Rangers, where they're like, "Oh, Power Rangers, you saved us. Take off your helmets," and they take them off, and they're like, "Wow, you're just a bunch of fucking kids." What the
Yeah,
fuck?
but it's funny. It's the juxtaposition of the fact that they like jump out of an airplane with a snowboard and like land in the park, and they're like Angel Grove High School parachuting team, and they're like all wearing their colors and everything, and then it's a joke for the reader or the viewer, but it's not a joke for the characters of the show. Like the population of Angel Grove is not in on that joke because they don't know who the Power Rangers are. But you, as a fan, as a viewer of the show, that's a joke for you. Like, they always wear their
never
colors.
really felt
Like,
that
that's
way.
funny. Why do they always wear their colors?
Because that's what you do on a Sentai show.
But you do it because it's like...
I mean, okay, I've never thought critically about Power Rangers. I'm just gonna put that out there right now.
You could have fooled me.
I mean, that show came on when I was young enough that I was just like, okay, well, that's the thing. Like, they did that on Voltron. Like, they wore
Right.
the color-coded suits that go with their color-coded lines.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what you do when you have 5 people on your team and you jump into giant robots. Like, that's the
I
thing.
mean, I guess, but like, why does Billy always wear like blue flannel and blue jean shorts?
Because he's the Blue Power Ranger.
Yeah, but like, why is that?
Well, it doesn't need a reason. Like, that's
Yeah,
just
but
what it is. That's part of the genre.
It's not part of that defined a genre. Like, that was the first thing in that genre.
Right, I'm
like,
just saying, like, that is my perception.
it's now a part of the genre, but it wasn't then. Like, they did it.
One day.
I mean, that's what they did in Sailor Moon.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
I will
Lions?
fight you. They do. They never wear their colors on
Ray
Sailor Moon.
wears her colors.
She wears the traditional kimono of the of that Buddhist shrine,
Right, with red
which is
pants.
red. But that's it. Most of the, I follow a lot of
And
the fashion of Sailor Moon tumblers, and I will send you many links of Usagi wearing every different color that is not white and blue.
All right, I
Or
suppose
red.
that they don't always, but sometimes they
Well, even their school uniforms are white and green. Like,
Well,
most of the
Jupiter's
time.
is because she transferred from another school, and her... Oh, man, I'm going to sound like the biggest Sailor Moon nerd. Jupiter's... She wears a different school uniform from everyone else because she transferred from a different school, and when she got to that school, she's too tall, and none of the school uniforms at that school fit her, so she has to wear her old school uniform.
Isn't it brown?
It's like off-white top, and then it's a green skirt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought the other ones had green too.
No, they
I was
wear
thinking-
blue. They
at
wear
first I
blue
was
and
thinking
red.
green,
They
and then I was
all
like,
wear
maybe it's
Sailor Moon's
brown.
colors.
I think maybe it's just a greenish brown.
Because she's a sailor scout. Like, she wears a schoolgirl sailor outfit because that's, like, a thing.
I remember them wearing things that matched the colors that they
Nah,
transformed
they totally
into.
don't. Usagi wears a lot of orange and green. God, I'm such a nerd. But she does. She wears lots of like orange and green.
On
and
this
stuff.
show, nerdity will not stand.
I shouldn't know this much about Sailor Moon,
Oh, whatever.
to be honest with you. I mean, it was on right before Dragon Ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So I watched a lot of it when I was a kid, and recently
that
went
much
back and
about-
read all of it for an episode of Out of the Fridge. And I do really like that show. But
Good. I was banned from watching it as a kid.
yeah, because Tuxedo Mask is too hot, and you might get pregnant.
It's because of like demonic things.
Yeah, too many talking cats.
So many talking
Yeah.
cats.
So
That was it.
many
That was the
talking
problem.
cats.
There's only 2 talking cats. But I don't know. It was like that kind of stuff is such a joke for the viewer. And that's what all of this stuff... Like, no one in the Mystery Society is laughing that they have a plane that has 4 bubbles. Or 5 bubbles in it.
Yeah, I
But,
mean,
like, you
especially
as a
seeing
reader-
though when they made it, it was only the 2 of them, and they had no
Yeah.
fucking clue as to how many people.
Exactly.
end up.
Like, that's why that's funny.
That didn't occur to me. Or like the son, who's just an asshole, and everybody's like, "Wow, this kid is such a schmuck. We all hate him."
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is anyone listening to him?
Yeah.
And it
'Cause
never
it's
occurred
like-
to me like it's supposed to be like the cartoonishly
Yeah.
evil father and son.
Yeah. It's like that classic 80s villain.
Like, it never reached that thrill of over the top to me where I'm like, oh, it's cartoony. This is funny. Like,
I
it
don't
was just
know,
like,
man.
wow, this is dumb.
I mean, I guess it all goes back to like timing, and if you heard voice actors like voice acting that kid, and like they gave him the appropriately
if
like
they gave
over
him
the
like
top,
a ridiculous voice,
right? You would have got it.
Maybe I would have gotten it.
Yeah, and I think that's like, I don't know, man. This is such a love letter to all the stuff that I liked as a kid, and all the stuff I still like. And I guess, although it isn't, it isn't in any way perfect, it pushes a lot of the right buttons for me. It makes me laugh, and I think some of it's very clever.
The fact that Toby doesn't like it just makes me like it more.
And I think that I just like, I have a
would like
fondness.
something for spite.
Yeah, I'm that kind of asshole. What can I say?
I just have a fondness for stuff like this, like Huey, Dewey, and Louie all having different colored spacesuits when it's like it would be more cost effective to
it's
just manufacture them
one,
all in
right?
white.
Well, you have to be able to tell them apart.
Exactly. And that's like, but it's also kind of a joke too, you know? It's like when Batman wears his wears like a spacesuit on the outside of the bat suit. It's just like, that's fucking so unnecessary, but it's
Wear the goddamn
it makes
no,
me,
it's branding.
yeah, but it's
No, like,
also funny.
In the universe, he has to brand himself. Like, he runs a business.
Hey, the Bat Corps, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
No, it's the 70s, and they wanted to fucking draw him in like a giant bubble space helmet, but they left the bat.
They gave
When
Spider-Man a
Batman's
fucking
out-
helicopter at one point.
When Batman's out in the galaxy, like fucking helping aliens and shit, like he doesn't need to keep that he's Bruce Wayne a secret because
He
none of
does.
them know who
No,
Bruce
he
Wayne
does.
is.
They do.
But he does it anyway because like that's how kids identify with him. It's like the Adam West Batman show is just like
I used to
it's-
hate that show
It's
as a
so
kid.
funny.
I still hate that show.
What? No,
Yes.
it's
Well, now I
Joe.
can
Watch
look
it
back
again.
No,
on
I
it
did.
and be
I
like,
watched it the other day, and I
really?
tried, man. Like, we were
Oh, it
over
is
at
so
Kerbatron's
funny.
parents' house, and her dad put it on, and I was like, oh man, and I was like, no. I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch this, and I'm gonna watch it with an open mind because it's been years since I've seen it.
it's so
and
funny.
maybe I really can't appreciate it for how campy and silly it is. And I just wanted to shoot myself after 5 minutes. Like,
It's
I
so
gave it my
good.
honest best try. I'll appreciate that the campiness and the silliness of it is what makes it like timeless, but I just hate it. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, like, I'm sure there are episodes that I could watch. The one I watched had fucking Liberace in it, which was fucking painful to watch.
You got to watch it from the beginning because I think as it went on, it got campier and campier.
Oh, God,
And
yeah.
like right at the beginning, there's just like the perfect amount of what made it what it was.
I thought Batman the movie, the 60s one, was
right.
hilarious.
I love that
Beyond
movie.
all
like
measure.
I still love that.
Like,
movie.
I hated the show as a kid because I didn't get that it was supposed to be stupid. Like,
Right.
I just thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that they were like being campy on purpose
Yeah.
for humorous effect.
Yeah.
And like, as an adult, I get that. And like, I don't always laugh at it. but I recognize like what it's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you point out what this is trying to do, I'm like, okay, this is like Rainier Wolfcastle in front of the brick wall going, that's the joke.
Yeah.
Like, to me.
Yeah.
It's like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're trying to do. I'm just not laughing at it.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely will think that the joke is funnier when someone doesn't have to explain it to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Certainly.
just inherent in humor. Like, if you find something like Ultimate Skyrim. Like, if you didn't laugh at that and I had to try to explain to you why it was funny, like, it would never be as funny to you as it would be to me.
No, absolutely.
And that's the problem with humor, right? Is when people come up to me and they say, like, I don't think Arrested Development is funny, and I have to try to explain it to them. Like, I do that knowing that it will never be as funny to them as it will be to me because they don't get the joke.
I tried. My brother's ex-girlfriend did not like Portlandia, and I was like, how can you not think that's funny? Like,
yeah, you can't.
And it's just, I'd be like, it's
Pluto's the allegory of the cave.
Yeah, you really can't.
You can't. There's no way to explain it. Like, you have to see it for yourself. If you don't see the joke, it will never be as funny.
Yeah,
and I think that goes like tenfold for like what Joe was saying with written text.
Yeah,
is so much harder to convey jokes than like shows where you can put in laugh tracks and silly voices and sound effects, and like Scooby-Doo minus the goofy sound effects would just be the weirdest show.
Oh my God, have you ever watched a sitcom with the laugh track taken out? It's so
Please
weird.
do it with The Big Bang Theory, because it is literally the funniest thing I've ever seen. Well, they pause for no reason. That's something that you notice.
Well, it's not just that they pause for no reason. Like, you listen to the things you're saying and you're like, where's the funny thing?
Right.
Like, what's the joke here?
Yeah.
There is one with The Big Bang Theory, and the guy Sheldon is sitting out in the hallway playing Super Mario on his laptop because his roommate has like a girl over or something like that. Mm. And that's the joke. Like, he had to go out of his apartment, so he's sitting in the hallway playing a video game.
Yeah.
What's the joke there?
This is why it's the number one sitcom in the country.
Yeah. Clearly we don't get it. But I don't know.
I get it all right.
But I don't think that text is necessarily harder to convey humor. It's just it's a different style of humor.
Yeah.
And no matter what medium you're in, like, you have to do it right. Like, you have to have the right kind of timing, the right sort of cadence.
Yeah.
There was a Robert Asprin series, the Myth books, that were hilarious when I was like 10. Mm-hmm. And there's one bit in there where it's these two guys having a conversation, and the conversation is funny for no other reason than just the way that the cadence of the words, mm-hmm. just the way that their back and forth works makes that scene funny, mm-hmm. regardless of what they're talking about. And like, you have to know how to do that.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, like, this book didn't hit.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, if you walked into it and you didn't expect it to be a comedy, I think that would be hard. I don't know. I guess it's just like the visual cues early on in the book that you're meant to pick up on to be like, this is meant to be a comedy. And maybe it isn't really until you see like the just ridiculous robots in the like that fake like what's the one from RoboCop?
The Ed 209.
Ed 209, like that fake Ed 209 that he runs into, and he just like cryo freezes and kicks in the face.
I read that, and then I finished it, and I was eating dinner, and so I've been reading God Hates Astronauts.
So
and
good.
It is fucking great. And there is a total like shot for shot RoboCop thing where like towards the end of the first volume, somebody's like, "You're fired," and one guy pulls out RoboCop's gun and goes, "Thank you," and shoots him, and then he falls out of a window. And it goes back. It's a flashback, and the one guy's like, "That didn't happen. There's not even any windows in our base. How could that have fucking happened?" But I'm like, RoboCop. Yeah. That's why it happened. It's fucking great.
That book is phenomenal. The second volume is not nearly as good as the first one. It's very disappointing to me. But God Hates Astronauts, that first webcomic volume, is so fucking funny.
And it's weird.
I love it. I don't know. I think that there's definitely something to be desired in this book in some instances. Like, I love the art, but I really wish the colors were better, like a little more vibrant. Like, because that's the other thing is, like, if this looked more like a cartoon, I think it would work better. Like, if things were shinier, because everything feels so dusty.
I wonder how different it would be if Fiona Staples was drawing it now compared to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I really like the art.
I like the art. It's the colors.
She's definitely refined her style, but I wasn't looking at this going, oh, she's so much better in Saga. Like, I think she's...
I see a lot of Saga in this. Like, yeah, I see a lot of what would become Saga in this.
Feels very loose. It flows. The colors are amazing. I mean, like, the art of this, I just want to... Anytime I see anything by Fiona Staples, I just want to rub it all over my eyeballs. It's so... I love her art so much.
I just want it... I guess it's, like, the paper quality, and, like, somehow I want it to be a little brighter.
Yeah, that's fair.
And shinier.
Yeah, well, it's got kind of a pulp quality. Like, it's supposed to look like it was printed on cheap paper.
Yeah.
Right, and I kind of want it to look more like Johnny Quest. Like the show.
Yeah.
You mean Johnny Quest?
Johnny Quest. I think I said it like no emphasis on either one on that
That's
one.
the way
I'll have to listen back to it. That was weird. But yeah, I want it to look more like a cartoon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or
it should have been like, I think this would make an incredible cartoon.
Yeah, if it had silly sound effects and crazy voices and super vibrant colors, I think it would have really helped the humor work.
Just how deadpan I read every Secret Skull line. Like, I just read her as just like that Daria voice, Like, she's got that weird voice balloon where like the J, but I just read it as like cutting monotone. And
like
then
being serious on purpose.
Yeah, and like when that conversation she has with the cop about going to Comic-Con and he's just walking away and he's just like, freaks. Like, I want like a really weird like Southern cop kind of voice,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that in my head I could imagine what I wanted all the voices to sound like.
Yeah.
Thanks to loving cartoons.
Yeah.
As a
It's
child.
definitely felt like a cartoon to me. I
want to see these characters appear in and through the lens of the Venture Brothers.
Well, it's like
I feel like the Venture
like.
Brothers version of this would work in a way that this didn't quite. And it's like there's a similar sort of humor going on there, but there's just a level of ridiculousness in the Venture Brothers that this doesn't ever quite hit.
Yeah, it's the, like, this is the Order of the Triad, but Venture Brothers takes the Order of the Triad to, like, Jefferson Twilight goes into a diabetic nap coma after eating too many nickel nibs or whatever he eats. And, like, he can't go on the mission with them because, like, it's that kind of, like, that's just absurd.
Yeah.
Like, who thinks of that? That's what I will always love the Venture Brothers for.
Helper, as a character, is funny because all he does is make that, like, meat noise.
And
like Beaker.
Everyone responds to him like they do to R2-D2, where they're just like, oh, yeah, I know, R2. Like, we're going to the Dagobah system.
Yeah,
You're like, fuck you. You just said beep, beep. Like, you can't do that.
And, like, that wouldn't work as a comic.
Right.
Like,
and
you
like,
have to do something else.
Well, Helper, I mean, like, they did the I Am Groot issue of Rocket Raccoon. I don't know if you've read that.
Yes,
like,
I did.
That Scotty Young wrote. And it's, like, very similar in my head, where, like, Rocket always responds to him like he's Chewbacca, right? Like, Chewbacca makes noises, and then, like, I think that works as a comic. I don't know. I think Helper's a great character. My favorite part about Helper is that he rides in the X1
like
R2-D2. Like, he's in the, like, he sits out of the top.
Totally. But they've done bits where it's just like him going meep, 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 meep for like 45 seconds.
Right.
And Brock's just going like, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, not Maya Angelou.
You don't say.
That's beautiful, Helper.
And, like, that's a funny thing.
Who was that? Shel Silverstein?
Whereas if you just did, like, a comic page, which was, like, 10 panels of a Helper going meep, 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 and Brock going, yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, it wouldn't have the same effect.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it's not quite the same as far as comic timing, but I still think that those kind of bits, like, can work both ways. I think I think there's different stuff. Like, I think voices are harder. Like, the Alchemist as a character works, I'd say 80% on the fact that he's voiced by
Master Shake.
Master Shake. Dana never can remember his last
I
name.
can't remember his last name.
And that his voice is funny. Like, that's most of that character just lives off of that.
You just did it again.
What?
Master Shake.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no... I don't. That's just how you say it.
Master Shake.
Master Shake.
No.
Well, whatever.
Master Chief. Johnny Quest.
Yeah, you know what?
But it's actually Race Banan.
It'd be like saying
Raise Banan.
Brock Sampson.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to all the other Sampsons on that show. This is Brock Sampson.
Yeah.
Except you just say it like that all the time.
Well, there's a
Brock
lot,
Sampson.
to be fair, there's a lot of quests on Johnny Quest. There's like multiple... There's like Dr. Quest and...
You're putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
You know what? I get enough you pronounced word wrong comments on Gamma Bomb that I don't need that from you guys. So
You didn't pronounce it wrong. You just put the emphasis in a weird place.
you know that's a lot that's way too much to ask from me. To be honest, just roll with it. Just pretend
no.
I didn't say it.
I never want you to stop. I just think it's hilarious that you do that and that you don't even notice that you do that.
I don't know. It would be weird if I knew I was doing it. Right? I think that would be weirder.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do we have anything else that we would like to say about Mystery Society?
I'm tired of all of you. That's what I'm going to say about that. This is ridiculous.
I think
Came
you
here to have a good
ridiculous.
time. I'm feeling kind of attacked right now.
I am also feeling very triggered.
I
I came out here to attack people, and I'm honestly having such a good time right now.
I'm feeling embiggened.
all right, I'm done saying everything. I like cartoons. I like this. That's basically like bottom line.
Yeah.
I like
Is it's
these
like
too.
I like the goofy ass villains stealing stupid stuff, like the skull of Edgar Allan. Who steals that?
That guy.
And I don't know, man.
Culprit does. That's
Yeah,
Chris Culprit.
I just think that's funny.
It is funny.
The secret skull riding on the back of Jules Verne with the jetpack going, and she just looks like
Jetpack!
so upset about it. Like that is, I don't know, man. It's funny. It's a funny book. Makes me laugh.
It sounds funnier listening to you talk about it than to actually read it.
Well,
I think it was funny too. I think all the people in this room that don't only like three things liked it.
Well, I can think of 3 things in this room I don't like.
if you say Hulk, I will kill you.
He's clearly talking about the mic stands
Yeah.
and the arcade.
Yeah. Hey, don't make
What
fun
are
of
you
my
talking
iCade.
about?
I
I've
got that
been waiting
$7.
for Chard to kill over dead so I can steal the iCade.
Yeah, I got that for $7.
That is a hell of a deal.
Yes, it is, because it's normally like $70. It was ridiculous. I've used it 2 times. I played Astro. I don't own enough games on the iPad that use it, because only so many games like actually support it.
Well, you need to jailbreak your iPad and put like a SNES emulator or something.
It's
on
exactly what I need to do. Dude, just like an arcade, like get some good arcade games like Burger Time and
there. Hell yeah.
Budweiser Tapper.
My favorite arcade game is and always has been
What?
Rastan.
I don't even know what that is.
It's basically a Conan ripoff.
Okay.
Where you're just a barbarian, like it's a side-scrolling like beat 'em up or whatever. Like you're walking through this fantasy land, and there's like lizard men and chimeras and
So it's
shit.
like Golden Axe.
A little bit. Like you can't go like up and down like you could in Golden
okay.
Axe. Like you can only go left or right, and then there's like you can pick up
Wow, that's
like
old school
axes
beat 'em
and
up.
flaming swords and crap.
Man, like the not being able to move up and down the thing seems like ancient.
Yeah, no, it's very old school. They had it at the Q Mart when I was a kid, which is the Quakertown Farmers Market. If any of you are ever in Bucks County, Pennsylvania,
And no one ever will be.
go to the Q Mart. It's a wonderful place.
The one that was like that when I was a kid was, I think it's called Knights of the Round or
Sounds
Camelot.
familiar.
And you played as like Knights of the Round. You couldn't play as Arthur, but you played as like Lancelot and the other guys.
Name one other Knight of the Round Table, please.
The Black Knight.
Gawain, Galahad, Percival.
There we go, those guys.
Percival.
Definitely.
That's all I have.
Other guys.
Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah.
Merlin.
They're not appearing in this film.
See? I know all of them.
Brave Sir Robin, who ate the minstrels, and there was much
Robin
rejoicing.
Hood.
Just wait,
Little
my
John.
mom is going to post a comment with like 50 of them.
They were not that many.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
All right. Bring it on. Okay.
Or
Yes.
at least 13 of them.
Yes. Things we've learned today.
My game back in the day was Joust, man.
That's a great game.
That was a great game.
Why were you laughing at Budweiser Tapper?
Because I don't know.
That's a fantastic game. Or maybe you know it better as the NES version, Root Beer Tapper.
That's the version I know.
Yeah. The original one was a brand deal with Budweiser,
I did not know that.
which is crazy. It says it in the pixel art, too.
I learned something today.
Yep. This book is funny. That's what you learned. Moving on. Recommendations.
Yay!
Joe,
I was going to recommend God Hates Astronauts,
do it.
the first volume. It's crazy. It's fucking insane. It's basically, the first issue opens with John Sullivan, the old bare knuckles boxing champion, raising an army of bears to go and fight his nemesis, who are the protagonists, which are oh God, I cannot remember what the name of the group is.
I can't either.
But,
He's like undead, right?
he is undead,
Yeah, he's
yes.
like an undead boxer
Yeah.
who's raised an army of bears to fight. I mean, like, if that's not enough to at least
yeah.
look at the comic.
Well, if he arms him with
It's
guitars,
the
they'd be able to fight
5
werewolves.
person-
Well,
Persons-
later they become wizard bears.
Yeah.
So, like,
It's the 5 power persons
yeah.
or something like that, and they're led by this guy that is the son of a normal Earth woman and like a cosmic lord, and he's immortal, and it's just,
It's crazy, man.
I mean, you want to talk about over the top? It's fucking over the top.
Not the Sylvester Stallone movie.
Not the Sylvester
but
Stallone movie.
the
no.
actual...
Although I highly recommend that because caps on backwards, arm wrestling, touching story of a father and a son.
Doesn't he
and
snap
trucks.
some guy's arm in that?
I can't remember.
Anyway.
But
That sounds like the kind of thing that would happen in an arm wrestling movie.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, none of you bastards are going to vote for it, so it's fine. But
Dude, I recommended it. I love that book.
no, God Hates Astronauts. It's
Right now, it's in the lead for my vote.
it's hilarious and strange, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Kayleigh.
So I am bringing back Namesake from last week because I'd like to talk about it before Comic-Con because they're both the creators are going to be there. So I think it would be cool. Also because Gabby's ordered it because Allison mentioned that I recommended it. So
Nice.
if you want to pick up volumes 1 and 2, Gabby's will have it shortly.
So, briefly, since I wasn't here last week, what is Namesake?
Going
yeah.
to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds sweet.
Calm down. Okay.
Calm your tits, Toby.
My tits are very
Soothe
calm.
the calamity that is your memories, please.
Soothe the calamity that is your what?
Your memories.
You do realize he's going to say that nonstop for the
Good.
next week.
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, I will not be saying that at all.
Why not?
Yeah, why not,
Brilliant.
Joe?
So, Namesake is about essentially every decade or so, a group of children are born with certain names, and there's something special about them. They get teleported into a world other than our own where they fulfill these different roles. So a girl named Dorothy will be sent to the land of Oz, and she will have to fulfill her role as a Dorothy. Jack will be sent to many different worlds because there are many different Jacks, and that's sort of a joke that crops up. This story focuses on a girl named Emma who is suddenly teleported to the land of Oz. And everybody's like, oh, you're the Dorothy. Because everybody in these other worlds knows what's going on. She's like, no, that's not my name. And it's really cool. It's really fun. It has a lot of great family roles, a lot of really cool relationships. I love stories that explore fairy tales. And this does that. And it does like every single fairy tale ever. So
Nice.
It's just great.
And this was the webcomic originally.
Yes.
You can still read it.
You can read it online. You can buy a digital copy of it. You can buy a softcover copy of it, or you could buy a hardcover copy of it. So whatever your preferred method of consumption is.
Omnibus.
It's
is there
available.
like an oversized,
Not
like
yet.
800-page omnibus?
Not yet, because they
Okay,
only
well,
have
that
volumes
was
1
a
and 2.
doorstop.
All right, Joe can't read it then. So we have to pitch something up.
Ah, dang. Okay.
I can only read books that allow me to flex my massive biceps.
You mean hurt your back
Well,
to read them?
yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
awesome.
that's my recommendation.
Toby.
So I am going to bring back a book that I pitched once before, and I believe Joe has pitched once before. I'm pitching Fearless Defenders from Marvel. This came out a few years ago and was kind of amongst the first salvo of Marvel's like let's bring up female heroes and like really make them a thing. And what it is all of the Valkyries from Asgard have died except for one, Brunhilde, who is Valkyrie. Like she's been a superhero since the 70s.
Right.
And in this series, she's been tasked with rebuilding the Valkyries, but she's like really reticent to choose anybody because she doesn't really feel like anybody measures up. And because she doesn't pick anybody, like it starts to cause weird, like celestial problems because the universe is out of balance. And like creatures start like coming back from the dead. And there's this legend of like these ancient Valkyries who went evil, and it's really cool. And she teams up with Misty Knight from the Daughters of the Dragon. She
And Heroes
the
for
awesome
Hire.
robot arm. And they have adventures, and it went for 12 issues before getting canceled, unfortunately. But it's a whole lot of fun. It's a great book with lots of ass-kicking female superheroes.
Yeah, this is really fun. I read this on Joe's recommendation, I believe.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah, so Fearless Defenders.
Yeah.
Have we talked about Daughters of the Dragon?
I have pitched it, and you have pitched it.
Okay.
I was going to pitch Daughters of the Dragon. I got it out and put it on my coffee table, and I was like, I should pitch Fearless Defenders instead.
She was also in Heroes for Hire, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Her and Colleen Wing are the other half of the Heroes from Hire, or Heroes for Hire from Luke Cage and Danny Rand.
Okay.
So the four of them collectively are the kind of the core group of the Heroes for Hire.
Okay.
Also known as Luke Cage and
And
Iron
friends.
Fist. I just love how Luke Cage does not go by Power Man anymore.
Why
Well,
not?
somebody else is Power Man.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Mighty Avengers. It's this younger kid.
Also,
Lazy.
I think he goes by Power Man because Luke Cage stopped going by Power
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And he like
Well, it's kind of
stole
a
it from
dumb
him.
name.
It is kind of a dumb name, but I also love it.
Yeah, but there was nothing dumb about that chain belt.
I do like that. Doesn't he use it in an issue? Like, doesn't he like have it?
That was
somewhere and
part
he,
of
like,
his whole
pulls-
deal, I thought. Like,
No,
I thought
and,
he was
like,
using that up
recently,
until...
like-
I thought he was using that up until
I feel like
recently.
Bendis like had him like pull it out of a desk drawer and hit somebody.
Maybe,
with it at some
maybe,
point.
maybe.
Anyway,
All I know is he doesn't wear his tiara anymore.
yeah,
And
which is really the biggest shame.
hopefully they'll bring it back for the Netflix show.
Yeah. So, I'm bringing another Image book. We're rapidly approaching 52 weeks. Only like
This week 33?
34, I think.
34, that's right. I was
Yeah.
gone last week.
And I was at the comic book store reading Mystery Society earlier today, and
No, you
I
weren't.
was. And I actually was. This isn't a lie. And I
This
was
is a true charred fact.
True chart facts. And I was talking to Kelly Oakler of Out of the Fridge, and I was like, "What should I bring tonight? I don't know what I'm going to bring for Image books." And she was like, "Have you read this? Have you read this?" And I was like, "Yeah, we did an episode about that. We did that one. We did that one." And she's like, "What about Bedlam?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." And she's like, "Read it." And I was like, "Okay." And so I sat down today and I read Bedlam by Nick Spencer, who I really like. And it's crazy. It
Why
was
does that
like
name sound familiar?
Nick Spencer.
He's done something else.
Didn't he do Superior Foes of
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
He's doing Ant-Man now.
Okay, that's why.
So this isn't funny. I'll just throw that out there. This is very
that
like,
sounds familiar.
this is a messed
Bedlam.
up story, basically. And it's kind of like, the way I read it is it's kind of like a what if DC story. Like, there's this character called Matter Red who wears a mask and like is a supervillain. Like, he murders kids and blows up schools and is
just generally a dick.
Generally a dick, but he does it in a way that he's like trying to draw attention to the fact that like how corrupt and messed up society is. And one of the things he does is this happens very first issue. He's in the police. He turns himself in. He gets arrested. The Batman archetype character shows up and gets him and is like, takes him to police, and he's like, I've planted 6 bombs in 6 elementary schools. Like, they're in your kids' backpacks. Like, these kids are going to die. And the only way the bombs won't go off is if you kill me. And so he's causing these riots outside of the police station as people are trying to, like, break in to the police station to murder this guy so that their kids can live. And, like, the police won't kill him, and they won't turn him over to the public because, like, due process has to happen. He's like, look at how messed up the system is. Like, if this were medieval times, you would just take me outside and shoot me. Or, like, put my head on a stake and, like, end this. But, like, your society, you were created to protect the people, and now you're actually putting them in danger. And it's like this really, he's kind of like mind-fucking them, like the way that, like, the Riddler or the Joker would. And he's very much like those two characters rolled up into one. And, but the meat of the story is really, he goes through this crazy experimental process. Someone kidnaps him and puts him through this experimental process to basically, like, rehabilitate him, make him into a functional human being. And this is kind of like the aftermath of what happens with you when you try to, like, change like this corrupted mind and, like, make it into something else. It's really weird. It's super trippy. I read the first volume. I'm recommending the first 2, which is everything that's out, the first 11 issues. And this kind of blew my mind because I didn't really expect it to be anything. But it's a really interesting look at, like, the Joker through kind of a indie comics light. And I feel like this is very much like Nick Spencer's take on, like, Gotham City in a weird way. And there's some, like, I don't know, there's some kind of, like, Hannibal Lecter-y stuff going on in there. Not so much the serial killer thing, but in the, like, one villain tries to help bring down new villains type stuff. And I don't know, it's really interesting. It's a really interesting examination. It's told in a lot of, like, flashbacks, flash forwards. So the story is, like, purposefully kind of a little bit hard to follow. And it kind of blew my mind. It was interesting.
It's weird to me. There's a pretty common naming convention for superheroes where it's like color noun.
Right.
Blue Beetle,
right.
Green Lantern,
Yeah.
Red Dynamo.
Yeah.
Batman.
And then occasionally they flip it around and they're like noun color. Omega Red.
Right.
Booster Gold.
Yeah.
Matter Red.
Yeah.
Never really noticed that before. And it seems like it's more often villains who go by that naming convention. And I mean, I'm not thinking of a lot of examples off the top of my head. But
Earl Grey.
I don't know,
Yes.
It suddenly strikes me as
famous
interesting.
DC villain Earl Grey. Yeah. But I thought it was a fun read. I read this today. So, and the first volume's only $10. So, because it's Image Trade. Go check
Image
it out.
first.
Yep. Oh, the art's by Riley Rossmo, and it's very much like black and white with splashes of color in the flashbacks, and then, like, the main meat of the story is color. So it's kind of an interesting, like, art style as well. I really like it. But Joe, what would you like to read this week?
I think I'm gonna go with Bedlam.
All right.
Yeah. I'm falling asleep. I did not get much sleep last night. I've been, like, doctor's appointments all day today. I'm fucking, like, and all of a sudden I was doing pretty good. And then all of a sudden, like, right at the end of your pitch, I was just like, boof. Yeah. My brain was just like, I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Bedlam for some reason. That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah.
So,
Kayleigh?
I think I'm going to go with God Hates Astronauts.
Sweet.
I am also going to vote for God Hates Astronauts.
Yeah.
What?
The book is so good.
What?
I'm so excited because I pitched that.
I pitched the fucking auteur like 3 times in a row, and I can't get one fucking vote from you people.
I'm going to vote once again for the webcomic. What's it called? Namesake. Because I still want to read that. So I probably will read it.
It's great. You'd
Same
love the
Nate?
colors.
Yeah. Cool. I'm pumped. That makes me want to read it more.
Yeah.
All right, so next week we are reading God Hates Astronauts.
God Hates
Yes.
Astronauts.
And we are going to be at Emerald City Comic Con, so hopefully we will see at least some of you there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
In a week
All right.
from the release of this.
Yeah.
So, all right, thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you to our patrons and our show sponsors and everybody. We love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Get out of
Fuckity
here, Master
bye.
Chief.
Thank you for listening to Me From the Gutters. I hope our recommendations have inspired you to go out and find some new comics you'll enjoy. Join us next time for a discussion of our selected title, but like every week, we encourage you to read all of the recommended books. In the meantime, please leave us an iTunes review. It really does help new listeners find the show. You can also like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at ViewFRTHGutters. Feel free to email us at contact@viewfromthegutters.com. Please send us any questions, comments, or recommendations you might have. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as we post new videos every week. And thanks again for listening. And as always, keep reading.